our weekly top 10 quarterback rankings for the 2026 NFL Draft. Who's the QB of the week? We're going to talk about our stock risers and our stock fallers next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's the director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. As always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout for being our everydayers. Guys, it's time to talk about our top 10 weekly update for the quarterback rankings for the 2026 NFL Draft. QB of the week from week 3 of college football, those stock risers and those stock fallers. But before we get into that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use freely across the app. QB of the week, Keith, man, like I feel like it was a multiple like QBs that really played well, and I think we ended. What did we end the show? Yeah, I gave my game ball to Trinidad Chambers on yesterday's pod, Keith. Yep. And I'm not going to bring him up again, but I'm gonna go. As impressive as he was, I'm not gonna bring him up again. I'm gonna talk about the guy he faced in that game, and that was Taylen Green. Taylen Green, and we talked about him on Friday, right? He's my make a statement. He was my top make a statement player because he had played well, but he had played Alabama A&M, Arkansas State. This was his first true test, and he was on the road at night, in the SEC against Ole Miss. Again, 6'5", 240-pound quarterback. He left that game. He was 22 of 35, 63% completion percentage, 305 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown, but on the ground, 14 carries, 115 yards rushing, and another touchdown. We're gonna get at the end of the show, guys. We'll reveal this week's rankings for each of us. He moved up significantly for me because it was third downs that, like, last year he struggled on third downs. It was the decision making, putting the ball in harm's way, things of that nature. He did make a hero ball play in the red zone, got bailed out because there was a defensive pass interference penalty that he threw a pick on. Instead of taking the short route, he tried to get it over to the defender. DB went up and got it, but they kept the ball. Outside of that, like, he played almost a flawless game. Receivers let him down. Everybody except for Omega Blake, the elite football name. Like, I felt like they should have gave him like 15 targets. Like, this kid looks the part. He's big.
He has the name, DP. He has the name.
The name, the look, everything. I was looking at him. I was like, yo, like, this dude's I had to go back and do some research on him. He was at South Carolina a couple years ago. I think with Spencer Rattler. Then he transferred to Charlotte, University of Charlotte, and now he transferred into Arkansas. They should have been feeding him the rock a little bit more than some of the younger guys, but Taylen Green's my QB of the week. In the big moment, you didn't wilt. You didn't fall under the pressure. You played up to the standard. And again, you played great against small competition. Would that translate against a real opponent? It did. He was one of the best quarterbacks in college, not just college football, but in the draft class, in the draft space in week 3.
Yeah, I agree with that as far as definitely a guy who, deserves to be there. DP, I think also, and I might be mistaken, this might be a wrong stat, but I think I seen this, that he might be 3rd or 4th in the SEC in rushing also. So not just throwing football.
He might be.
Yeah, running the football also. And we talked about this young man and his dual threat ability and his ability to be dynamic. And now that they're starting to hit SEC play, right? Like, now you start looking at Arkansas, it's like, who could they potentially upset? Who could y'all catch off guard? Who could y'all catch sleepwalking? Who could y'all catch looking
Can you get a run and maybe find yourself the SEC champion on the defense? Got to play better. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We was being hopeful, DP, but I get what you're saying. We was going that way.
So, defense got to play better, but could you get a run and knock off some big time competition?
Yeah. In order for him to do that, DP, he has to tap into his inner Cam Newton, right? He got to tap into the inner Cam.
Cam and Vince Young. You got to go back in the retroactive type of performances because they got a nice they got a slate of games. Notre Dame, Tennessee, A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, at Texas, back to back, and then finish it with Missouri. I don't know who did this schedule, but man, that's crazy. That's a tough
Yeah,
schedule.
it's tough. It's tough sledding. Tough sledding. I'm gonna go with this DP, and this might be a guy off the beaten path, just how they've been playing, and people have been down on them, and rightfully so. But I'm gonna go with Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Because and I, I talked about it. That was yesterday's show when I talked about, how we had the conversation about, like Clemson could be upset, right? Going taking things like that. One of the other games that we brought up was, the call them out segment was we call out the opposite side of football. We talked about Alabama defenders, which they showed up, right? Held Wisconsin, I think, to 10 points. But that was a potential upset alert too, right? Just because Alabama they lost very bad to Florida State. They beat ULM, but I mean, it's Louisiana Monroe, right? Like you're supposed to put 70 points on them. So really, you walk into this game against probably an average team, not knowing what you are, don't know if you're good or not, right? And the game didn't start off, in my opinion, I didn't think it started off great for Alabama, right? Like it kind of sputtered a little bit at the beginning, but he eventually took off. And you look at the stats, the score was 38-14. He went 24-29. So that's a completion percentage of 82%, 4 touchdowns. Then he also had 6 rushes for 25 yards, right? So he played a complete game. And then what's even more important, he got Ryan Williams involved. Got the young man involved. You started to see what Jeremy Bernard could be, what he should be, right? And him starting to kind of stake a claim in this wide receiver conversation for this draft class. So I look at Todd Simpson and I'm like, this is the first game, and he's only played 2 other. But I started to kind of see like, okay, this is why they had confidence in you being a starter, right? Because against Florida State, you're kind of scratching your head, like, I don't get it, right? Like maybe I should have brought in somebody else too and had some competition. But Ty played good football, and I think he throws a ball. It was one throw. Man, I don't know if it was a sail route. I think it might have been a sail route, and he put it on the money, to the wide receiver. And I was like, man, that was impressive. That was impressive. It had a good amount of arc on it. The ball fell at the right time. So you can see and we talk about arm strength and arm talent. You can see that this young man has some arm talent to him.
Yeah. No, 100%. And 6'2", 200, like he's just at like 208, 210. And I believe he is a senior, I think.
Yeah, it might be a redshirt junior or
redshirt junior.
like that. Yeah.
So he might have one more year left. But like to see him kind of step in to this offense, and I think he was like a 5-star recruit.
He was a highly recruited guy. Yep.
Like, 5-star recruit. Yeah, he's a redshirt junior. So he has this year and next year if he wanted to. And depending on how this class goes, if you got multiple guys like Lenore Sellers and Arch Manning go back, like, why not throw your name in the hat if you end up running the table and playing well for Alabama, right? Like, what I mean? You could absolutely end up being probably second round. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, the fact that we saw, my man who, like, what was it? Tyler Shuck go top 4 to go to 40th
out of nowhere, right? Like,
what did KG say when the Celtics won the anything is possible? Okay, like Ty Simpson, anything is possible, man. So and I think this is what makes what I think with his performance and how he's played over the last 2 weeks, Keith. And like I said, not like getting Ryan Williams involved, Ryan Williams coming off that concussion and stuff like that, getting him involved, getting Jeremy Bernard involved. They still, like, this crazy thing about it is Jan Miller still hasn't started from yet because he was coming off of injury. So when he returns, they get some semblance of a consistent run game and everything. So the RPO game, the play action, is not just 35, 40 dropbacks a game type situation. He can kind of cut that down to 28 to 31 attempts, run the ball. Alabama might be in the situation where, like, are they back? You know what I mean? Because they have the weapons, right? Offensive line is playing pretty solid as they start to get their chemistry together. Defense has playmakers and everything. Yeah, I think Alabama, Ty Simpson is going to be the key to them be able to say whether or not they're back, especially in the SEC. But that was one of those performances you're like, okay, Wisconsin, Big Ten team, this is not a small school. You played well. You played a great game. Now, next week, let's see if you can do it again.
Yep, DP, I'm right there with you. But let's do this, man. Let's keep this thing going and flowing. We handed out the award, man. QB of the week. We talked about our quarterbacks of the week. Let's continue this conversation, man. DP, we're on a positive vibe right now. Let's talk about the stock rises, right? Which quarterbacks have elevated their stock through week 3 of college football? We talk about that coming up next.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every single ride, with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every single model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything, but from smooth handling to intuitive controls, and with all-wheel drive standard in every single crossover SUV, you can drive with the confidence needed through almost any season of weather. So, like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. When you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorizations of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, that's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com if you use the code LOCKEDONNFL. Stock risers for the quarterback class, Keith, and I look at, they lost the game, but I still like what I saw from them. Darian Mensah for Duke, man. I don't think they could really run the ball. He threw the ball 51 times. And Tulane somehow got up on them early, like double, like 2-3 scores. I think it was like 24, might have been 24-3 at one point, 24-7, something like that. But Mensah was 30 of 51, 313 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He did have an interception in that game, but I like the fact that he just kept fighting in that game, and that he threw some absolute dimes. They only lost by 7 points too. Like I said, they were down. They were on the road, and Tulane was going to be up for this game. You left us for the NIL bag. You left us to go to Duke, stuff like that. Like they came out with a purpose,
Bulletin
right?
board material. Yep.
Absolutely. Like, and he did, just like, I didn't say anything, but it's like, no, you left us. Like, you felt like we weren't able to get you where you needed to be, and you dipped out on us. Fair. But this young man played a good game overall, man. Like, he did what he needed to do. This is a team, like, they ran about 24 times for 145 yards, right? But 75 of that came from like one player. Like, he had a 35-yard run. They had like some chunk runs, but for the most part, it was on the shoulders of Darian Mensah. And to come back and make this a game to where you were in striking distance to win, that falls on the shoulder of your quarterback. He had a dime. He was rolling out to his right, just dropped it right over the defender into the corner of the end zone to one of his receivers to put to close the lead. Like, he threw some really good passes in that game. And now if you're Duke, you got a quarterback that hopefully he returns next year, and you say to the receivers in the portal, we got a guy that can get you the football.
Yeah, I want to ask you, DP, where do you, and I hope that I'm not getting ahead of segment because we have to release our top 10, but where do you see him projecting at this point? Because he's been an intriguing name, obviously, since the transfer, right? Like in the NIL conversation was like, yo, this quarterback from Tulane that's going to Duke is getting a lot of money, right? Like, that's how, honestly, I think that's how a lot of people are introduced to Darian Mensah. So I want to ask you, where do you see him right now in the quarterback class? Like, what do you see from him?
I think he could, if this is a guy that if he was a senior, the way he's played this year, he would be a top 7 quarterback probably for me right now.
Okay.
He's got that extra year of eligibility, so he, at any time he can decide to go back, after this year, and Duke's probably going to say, you know what, we got another NIL back for you, big dog. You know what I mean? We got another one. No, yeah. What's the NFL draft advisory board say your grade is? We'll match that first year contract. Don't worry about it. Like, we got you, and bring him back. And for him, I wouldn't be against it, because at the end of the day, we're seeing in the NFL, the more reps, the better for quarterbacks, and gives more confidence to these NFL coaches and stuff. And when I think about it, when I'm watching them, Keith, I'm not gonna lie. If he had more talent around him, he reminds me of Clemson's Deshaun Watson. Like, he reminds me of Clemson's Deshaun Watson, where it was just like accuracy, ball placement. I can make plays with my legs when I need to. I'm not Lamar Jackson, so don't expect me to do that stuff. But if I need to get out the pocket, I can get out the pocket. I have enough quick twitch ability in the pocket to make guys miss when pressure's there, roll out, create second reaction throws, and then he's not afraid of the moment. Like, he's a guy that keeps punching. And that's how Deshaun Watson was at Clemson as well. If they got into games, I remember that Lamar Jackson game. It was a shootout. Louisville versus Clemson, one of the best college football games I think I ever watched. And it was quarterback versus quarterback. Anytime Lamar was on the field, Lamar scored. When Clemson on the field, Deshaun's like, I got to get it back. I got to get it back for us. That's what I see when Darian Mensah.
That was the college version, DP, of the Chiefs-Rams games, I think. Remember from years ago?
No defense was played in that game. It was all quarterbacks.
that was the college version of that. But I like that. He's definitely somebody to keep an eye on, right? If he can, and you talked about it with, man, I forgot what quarterback we talked about it on yesterday's show, right? But like, can you throw your name in the hat to be like, yo, I could be a second round pick potentially, right? And maybe he has that potential overall. Elevator DP, and I think I went with him last week, and I'm gonna go with him again because I was impressed with who he did it against. Joey Aguilar. I think there's gonna be a conversation to really dive into the film, right, and what he can be. And this is a guy that transferred from a small school to UCLA, and then I want to say before he actually played at UCLA, him and Nico swapped. And he went to Tennessee, Nico went to UCLA, right? Listen, this transfer portal is crazy, right? Anything happens in the portal. What happens in the portal stays in the portal, right? It's crazy, but he seems like he's found a great home, and he's given himself a national name. And the reason I put him at Stockrise is because I believe that he's put him that performance against Georgia, and they lost the game, right? But I think people didn't know who Tennessee was going to be. I think the conversation around Tennessee before that game was, oh, Tennessee, the team that lost Nico Imiava, right? But now you look at him, it's like Tennessee, the team that has Joey Aguilar. And I think that that's a big riser for him personally, but also, are they now a playoff team to where now he's going to be able to kind of add to that, like, hey, yo, we can go beat, we could get a matchup with Penn State, or we could get a matchup with, one of these teams and beat them. And he's able to add that winner notion to him, because when I watched the game, DP, and especially the first quarter, right, 21 points in the first quarter, and you say, oh, shoot, like Tennessee got people on the heels. And did he play great the entire game? No, he had 2 interceptions, probably should have been 3 or 4, right? But did he play well enough to be able to put himself in position, 1, to elevate, and 2, to put Tennessee in position to be able to do some things? Because this, I think, up until this point, that was the best competition he faced by far. That was the biggest game of his life, right? Like, coming from a school.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking at Joey Aguilar as a guy, like, you know what? Definitely a riser. Jump into the film and see what's going on.
Yeah, it was at one point, like you said, because he started off like 14 for 14.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like, it was wild.
Like, the second quarter, I think he was 14 or 14.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? I was like, yo, he's on the heater. And then Kirby Smart said, all right, I'm tired of this. I'm getting pressure. And he sent pressure. Yeah. And he got back there. Then the receiver started dropping passes. It was like, oh, man, momentum starting to shift. And then Georgia says, you know what? We're not gonna put it all on you, Gunner Stockton. Let's pound the rock. Yeah, and they just started manhandling that defensive line. And it was like, at one point, I think they scored 17 unanswered, Georgia did. And I was like, yo, like, this might get ugly if they can't figure it out. and Joey just kind of just stayed stone faced.
Remember he had that big time play. Was it our guy that you mentioned yesterday? It
Bradswell?
was another deep ball, yeah, and he just went up and over the defender, which might have been offensive pass interference, but we'll leave that alone. But he went up and over and he responded.
No, 100%. Like he stayed. What I appreciated from him was that he stayed calm, because even that one of the interceptions, his second interception, it was to Braylon Staley, who he threw a deep touchdown pass to. The young man slipped on like the top of his route. He went to end cut, lost his footing, face planted, and then the ball went right to the defender because he's just sitting there. I'm like, well, that's a gift. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just thinking I'm trying to cover this guy. He falls and I'm like, oh, the ball's right here. And like to watch Joey stop the bleeding, and then okay, can you keep scoring? I think he scored 5 touchdowns in this game, and you're just like, hey, defense, can we get one, right? Or kicker, can we not push the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like, I tweeted it out because it drove me nuts. I was just like, guys, why in the world why did you run the ball to the left hash? I was like, center it up. Like, this kid's young. He looks like he's 17. I was like, he's never had and they had the graphic. He never attempted a game-winning or game-tying field goal. Soon as I saw that, I was like, get as close as possible.
Yeah, that was the kiss of death.
Yes. Once you show that graphic, I'm like, I don't feel good about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a big game. You at home.
I think everybody knew DP he was gonna miss it. Like, everybody had that vibe.
I think he knew he was gonna miss it.
He about to miss this.
Like, he was by himself on the sideline, like not like didn't want to be bothered and stuff. I was like,
oh, that is for me. That is that's what I pay attention to. Like, you want to know if I think a kicker gonna make it or not, it is his sideline demeanor in his warm-ups. If he kicking it,
he
with
did not look confident.
Yeah, if he just rolling up there and kicking it into the net, I'm like, yeah, he know he about to miss.
That's exactly what he was doing. I was like, man, can y'all, like, I just said, make it easier for the kid, center the ball so he could just kick it straight down the middle.
Yeah.
You put it on the left hash, like, all right, now you got to kick it to the right, but make sure it curves. Like, what are we doing? This is not
push it,
Adam Vinatieri, man. Like, no, don't put that kid in that position.
Yeah, I agree 100% with DP. Let's do this, man. I think you said at the end of the show, we're going to talk about our top 10 quarterback list. And DP, I got a lot to say. We're going to talk about the top 10 quarterbacks, and we're also going to talk about some of the guys that fell, right? Which guys are falling, which guys are in free fall in our top 10 list. Let's have that conversation coming up next.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use freely across the app. Again, right now, new customers can bet just $5, $5. And if your $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use freely across the app. And I'm talking about using it on everything to bet, from player props, building same-game parlays, or even jumping in the action live as it unfolds. It makes the game even more exciting, guys. So my question is, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to get started and to place your first $5 bet. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen to day and everyday shot, for being our everydayers. Free fallers, guys who, like I said, we talked about what goes up must come down. Keith, you talked about Cade Klubnik yesterday, and just another inconsistent performance from him. And you're just waiting to see, will y'all find your footing? Like, will you find your footing to be consistent? You know, it's week 3, but when you're at Clemson, you don't get just a week 3 situation. Your draft stock regardless, but the fact that your team is probably now out of the hunt for the national championship, that's tough. You know what I mean? Very slim chances of getting back to the college football playoffs. So I look at Drew Aller, another low-hanging fruit for me situation. He came at 7 on my list. Still just inconsistent. Like the consistency of, you see, he had a throw to Trevor Pena that might have been one of the best of the day Saturday. splitting two defenders, like just ripped it. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, yep, this is the stuff that scouts love. And then you get the throw. He's in the pocket. You got to run back in the flats. Nobody's open downfield. And he says, let me go to the flats late. And he throws it late. DB is sitting right there reading him and just jumps it. And I'm like, Drew, before you let that ball get out your hand, pivot over there and look to see where the DB is, brother. Like, it's too much. It's too much arrogance from him with some of the decisions he makes, and it's gotta stop. Like, because what, in 2 weeks you get Oregon coming into your house. You can't do these type of things.
Yeah.
You can't. And the run game is, the offensive line is the run game is solid. It's not as it's not as dominant as it could be, right? And then, I mean, even they're letting them play deeper into games in these games where they're blowing out these bad teams, and it's like, pull them out early. It's like, the longer you leave him in there against these bad teams, he starts taking chances he got no business taking. It's like, Drew, I get it. It's a bad team, but let's not do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, falling performance, just back-to-back inconsistent performances from him against subpar competition, Keith. So he's the guy I look at. And so I'll go through my top 10. I'm going to go from 1 to 10. Number 1, I keep Fernando Mendoza at 1. I moved Taylen Green up to number 2 from Arkansas, Keith. I love the performance that he did, putting that team on his back, playing within structure of the offense in the pocket. But when he needed to use his legs, he used his legs. John Mateer, I dropped him a little bit. He had some arrogant moments against a smaller team. It was like, John, don't start doing this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't start being chaotic, man. Just play ball. Like, he threw an interception against, I forget who they played, but I was like, dude, just calm down. Got number 4, I got Carson Beck. At 5, I have Garrett Nussmeier. 6, I moved Joey Aguilar up to 6. I have Aller at 7. Dante Moore at 8, Sawyer Robinson at 9, and I left Cade Klubnik at 10. Keith, for you have at number 1, Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, who we're going to get to in a minute. Lenore's, did I take Lenore Sellers off? I did, because he got hurt. He got hurt. I don't know if it's a concussion, but they knocked him out of the game. Like, it was
it was a head injury. I think it was a concussion.
Yeah, like
he only threw like 7 passes or something like that.
Yeah, so I just took him off altogether. But you got Lenore Sellers at 3, Carson Beck at 4, John Mateer from Oklahoma at 5, Dante Moore from Oregon at 6, Taylen Green at 7, Fernando Mendoza at 8, Joey Aguilar at 9, and Eli Holstein at 10.
So
Arch Manning, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's go here. Let's talk Arch. Let's talk about the list real quick. I think we took 2 different approaches to the list, right? You took a week by week approach. I took a holistic approach, right? And that's for the listeners. We're like, okay, why are y'all lists so different in this conversation? But let's jump to Arch. DP, you text. I sent you the list over, and you text me, and you said Arch Manning still at 2, and I was like, yeah. And the reason I said yeah was because I was like, is Carson Beck the best quarterback in the nation? What did John Mateer just do? Lenore Sellers had a head injury. Garrett Nussmeier had 55 completion percentage through 1 touchdown, and he channeled the inner Nussmeier on that throw when he
from last year.
You know what? And he stood it flat-footed, rolled out, ripped that thing backwards against the grain, and threw it right to a Florida defender. I'm DP. And for our listeners, my hands in the air right now. I'm through 3 weeks, I'm shook right now. I am shooketh right now through 3 weeks. And I don't know where to land. And we're in a conversation where I'm looking at these quarterbacks, and to be honest with you, the guy who's played the best is Dante Moore. He's been he's been one of the better quarterbacks when you talk about arm strength and everything else. Drew Aller, DP, you just labeled what Drew Aller was doing, right? Like, yo, we can't do this. And every time I cut on the film and I go and I'm like, we just can't do that. And it is applying to a lot of different quarterbacks. But let's go with Arch specifically. But I thought it was interesting we talk about this, DP, through 3 weeks. I'm speechless.
It's how to put this right now. It is a very wild situation we're in right now with this quarterback class.
Yeah, I'm almost to the point. Listen, I didn't love Fernando Mendoza, but he might be the best quarterback, right? I can be at this point. I can be convinced of everything. After 3 weeks of football, I could be convinced of any and everything.
Bro,
To be convinced.
I'm over here crying, guys. Like this is because it's everything he's saying is true though, because it's so many ebbs and flows week to week right now, and that's why I like
DP
and
play to play. They're ebbs and flows,
yeah,
play to play. I'm emotionally,
no,
there's a
100%.
lot going on with my emotions from play to play on
Play to
Saturdays.
play is definitely a fact. Because I'm sitting there like even just like texting my guy Daniel Harms, and we're texting over the weekends game, stuff like that, and I'm like. He was like, man, the quarterbacks is just a lot going on right now. I said, listen, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, to be completely honest, I'm staying even keel, and the reason why is because I said this on Twitter to somebody last year around this time, Keith. No one had Matthew Golden as a first round pick.
Right,
Not
right,
a
right,
soul.
right.
We were
Yep.
high on him,
Yep.
right? But no one had him as a first round pick. And it took that middle part of the season towards the end. Lenore Sellers' first game of the season last year was against Old Dominion. And he looked god awful, right? By the middle of the season to the end, he had hit his stride. I'm like, all right, I'm giving it time because it's a lot of changes with a lot of these guys. Like for me, I told you last week, for me with Arch, the talent is there. He's gifted, all that stuff. I took him all, like after that performance, it was just kind of like, Jesus Christ, man. You're playing UTEP, 11 to 25, 44% completion percentage,
touchdown and an interception.
And the interception.
Yeah, it was not
and
good.
there's a play, I think he covers the Dallas Cowboys too. I think his last name is Brodus. He was in the skybox and he recorded from the skybox like a live play where I think it was might have been a quick sprint out spot concept, got the quick out route. Arch turned it down, pivoted, tried to run around, then he planted his feet and then threw a pass in the middle in the end zone to a linebacker or a safety. And I'm like, I just looked at it, but it was so crazy because you can hear the audio of the people in the background in the press box, and you can hear when he spun out of that instead of throwing it was like he's right there, he's open. What is he doing? And then somebody was like, "Oh, he's cooked." And I was like, the commentary was killing me when I was watching this video because I was just like, this is a Manning that we're saying this about. It's crazy. But then you see him throw the pick. I'm like, Arch, no. You know what I mean? Like the side on his mechanics are all over the place. I'm like, what is going on right now in Texas? So the quarterback situation is, I'm definitely taking it week by week. I swear to God, if Trinidad Chambliss does this again, he's in my top 10 at this point. I'm telling you.
And that's what I'm trying not to. And that's why I kind of tried to keep it consistent because I'm trying not to believe that my mind was playing tricks on me from the summer, right? And then also
the film is the film. These guys played well last year, man.
Yeah, they did. And if we go week by week, then like I said, Ty Simpson is my QB1, right? Like that's what I'm at. Ty Simpson, Taylen Green, and one other guy. So it's definitely a lot. But I think we're entering the phase in college football where we get into conference play, right? So we'll have a lot of big time moments for a lot of these quarterbacks, and I'm just hoping, and I know you're hoping too, that these guys result to the means, right? Like they go back to the average, right? Like the law of averages, and maybe that's what it is. Y'all been playing really bad. The law of averages make y'all play really well, and then you average out to what we thought y'all were, right? Like let's maybe y'all getting all the bad stuff out, right? Like maybe that's what's going on.
Get it out your system now. Like I need week 6, 7, and 8. I need you guys to be playing at a whole different level than right now.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see, DP. But man, that was a fun episode. But man, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. There right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's show, it is Watch the Tape Wednesday, guys. And I feel like we need to we just talked about how weird this quarterback class is. Let's look at Taylen Green, the one guy who's been consistent this year. He's been positive the way he's played. So let's get into his film, and we have 2 other players that we'll break down the tape from week 3 of college football on tomorrow's show. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.